Hello, and welcome to Plugging Along, a stream dedicated to LOTRO plugins. Last time on Plugging Along, we used our debug capabilities to simulate the Farmers Faire being active. Using that, we were able to finish off the backgrounding and auto-open features that we'll review here in a minute just to remember what they were doing. Today, though, I'd like to finish up, if possible, working on Festival Buddy. There aren't any active festivals right now, and if the Bulwer patch notes are to be believed, the Minster Buff plugin is going to need some love very soon. There's a whole bunch of changes coming down the pipeline for the Minstrel, so we'll see. Anyway, as always, feel free to jump into the chat with your thoughts and questions. They can be plugin related, they don't have to be. It helps if they're LOTRO related, that's what I'm here to talk about, but if you have other things on your mind, feel free. And in the meantime, let's go ahead and share some of the windows over here. All right, so what are we looking at? Whoops. If we use the caret menu to come to System Plugin Manager, we have the Festival Buddy plugin. Now, when Festival Buddy comes up, it's going to default to the last festival you were in or spring. But one of the changes we made recently was that if you accept a quest that is festival related, it's going to auto-detect your festival. So for instance, if we accept the Fat Mayor quest, boop, we can see the Festival Buddy has automatically detected that's the Farmers Faire and has gone ahead and loaded up the Farmers Faire UI and activated the Fat Mayor quest. So another thing we were doing last time was the backgrounding feature, which is to say, the way the plugin was working is that the window's up, we have the quest selected, and something comes across in chat. The mayor says it just needs a dab of something, which indicates you need to go grab butter and give it to him. But that was only happening when this window was open. And, when this quest was active. So if you switched over to another quest, a market list, for instance, running around the market and fulfilling these lists while you also had the mayor, then clicking the butter button again and nothing happens. We didn't have that quest selected. So a thing I wanted to do was be able to say, okay, I'm doing another quest, a market list, but I've clicked the background button so that even when I'm focused on another quest, I still get those notifications that the mayor wants something. Butter or milk or salt, that kind of thing. So that was something we successfully did, but we haven't yet taken a snapshot, made a commit of that code. The other thing was this auto-open checkbox. I'm going to go ahead and fail that Fat Mayor quest so that we stop seeing that. Okay, excellent. So the other thing was the auto-open, which is to say, in the Farmers Faire, I actually want very few of these quests to automatically open. For the UI to be present at all. Most quests in Farmers Faire, I get along just fine. But some of them, like the market list, there's 3 of them and I can never keep them straight in my head. A market list. If I accept that, I have possibly misspelled it. Hang on. So getting the window back is /festival. It is a market list. Oh, of course. It was already selected, so that's an interesting. Okay, I'll make a note. That is a possible extra thing to do. Auto open. If we have already selected the quest, open anyway. Or show the UI anyway. Okay, so let's say we had not had a market list active, there was nothing in the UI. When I get a market list, well, fantastic. Something's not working here. It's always neat to see when something isn't working. Because that means there's code that we can improve. Okay, so accept. All right, the auto open isn't working right now. Awesome. Let's make a note. Auto open isn't working right now? Question mark. And then as a sub of that, we want to check to make sure that we'll open anyway. But what should happen is that we accept a market list and the UI automatically opens, showing us that quest. And that's very useful for me because 3 of those staffing the market quests involve getting specific things like white bread or brown bread or white onion or red onion and sharp or mild cheeses, and I just can't keep them straight by memorizing them. So instead, I just have the plugin to help me. Okay, that being said, I'm curious about something. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and review the changes that we made last time, making snapshots, commits of them. Going to figure out why this auto open isn't auto opening, and then we'll move on to other things on our to-do list. So that's my plan for today. Ideally, we'll just get the last of them done, and then we'll see what's next. All right, so auto open isn't working right now. What we were doing was pay attention to that checkbox when accepting a quest. Okay, let's find out where that is. Okay, in the chat logger function, there was a filter quest function. We want to come on in here. Okay, if it's a new quest, then we're filtering that new quest. Okay, we're finding it. And then there's a refresh quest guide function. Okay. Well, I gotta say, I don't actually... Just a moment. Filter new quests. Yeah. Okay, that's festival functions. That's where we went to. So, what's going on there? In festival functions, we had the background and the auto open checkbox. Okay. That we're setting the visibility of, and yeah. Well, let's check out the main win changes, because load quest, there we go. That's what we want. So in the main window file, we want load quest. There we go. And this is the function that we can just go ahead and convince ourselves, turbine.shell.writeLine, that this is indeed being called. Of course, we're seeing that quest being loaded, but that's okay. We'll go ahead and start with that. And we'll go ahead and log that quest key as well. Okay, following that, we need is auto open is not null, and that set main win visible to true. So we need to know that we're trying to do that. And we'll just reuse that turbine.shell.writeLine, and we'll come in here and say calling this function. And the final thing is, I am curious about these settings here. So we'll do turbine.shell.writeLine, and then we'll go ahead and say settings quest is open, and we're going to use a special helper file function called dump. And we'll also get the, we've already got the quest key. So the value of the is auto open for that quest key, we'll get that as well, just specifically. All right, so that's a lot of debug output to figure out why aren't we seeing what we think we should be seeing. So first of all, We're going to type that back in, a market list. The UI is already open. We're not checking that quite yet. Awesome. Our debug code has an error in it. That's always good. Oh, of course, I did not use the dump function when calling out that second parameter. And if you pass a nil to turbine.shell.writeLine, it blows up. It does not like that at all. And same thing for a Boolean value, true or false. It's just no inherent way for it to handle that, so it blows up. So the dump function will check for those things and make them better. All right, we're unload, reload, come back in, market list. So we're going to go ahead and accept that. Fantastic. I've still messed something up. Let's make this on multiple lines. It'll make it a little bit easier. All right, what am I missing here? Quest is auto open is a nil key. Oh, okay. Right, let's just dump settings out and see what we see. Oh, I think I know the problem. Yes. Okay. Digging into this has definitely helped me find a bug. Market list and accept. Great. So, what we're not seeing in a market list is the quest is auto open. That's a sign that we did not populate that into the save file when we first created it. So let's come on in to default. It's a settings account. I changed it to settings account, and I still had settings sitting around. This is why it's great to occasionally just delete your save files, your plugin data files, because things will creep into those. Then you'll change your plugin to use new keys in save files, and there'll be little bugs like this just sitting around because you have the same data in two different places. The old place that you shouldn't be looking at anymore, and the new place that you forgot to look to. So I think the problem is that I should be using settings account for Quest's auto open. We'll even go ahead and do a dump of settings account here, just to confirm my belief. All right, unload, reload, and market list, accept. Okay, so what we're seeing is settings account does have Quest as auto open, a market list, a shopping list, a vendor list, all set to true. What this makes me wonder is Quest as backgroundable might also have run into this problem, where I moved it to be the account because the people in comments mentioned that they just wanted to set it once and have it apply to all of their characters. All right, so settings account, good. Settings account, settings account, settings account, great. And then the other one was Quest is auto open. We want to check each and every use of that. That's a settings account, great. Settings account, and settings account. Great, so it was just this one place, as far as we know, as far as we can find. So unloading that, reloading that, gotten rid of some of this debug statements here. And so the idea is that if we have a market list accepted, then that makes the window pop open. And that's exactly the behavior I want to see. Now, it's an interesting question is, if we then complete the quest, should it go back to whatever state it was? Should it hide itself automatically? And I figure, probably not. It goes away when I hit the escape key. And that's probably good enough for my purposes. Also, if I'm doing one of the market quests, I'm probably going to do all three. So that would just be it closing, it popping up again, it closing, it popping up again. Maybe that's interesting. I mean, it'd be interesting to write. I don't think it's necessarily a good feature. Just want the window to show up, and then it's up to the user to make it go away again when they want to. For now, we'll see if there's a mad surge of popularity for that idea of the window just popping in and popping out. Probably not. Okay, so excellent. That is a bug fix. Now, the other question was, if you already have a market list selected, and I do, does it still open when you accept it again? Awesome. So if I had just come in and I wanted to look at, say, a shopping list, and then I closed the window, I do want it to come back up, a shopping list. I do want it to come back up when I actually accept that quest. That was just me looking at it ahead of time. Excellent. So I'm very happy that that was an easy fix. We're going to go ahead and done and done. Bug fixed. Already was working. Cool. So if that's the case, let's go ahead and look at our source control program. In this case, I'm using fork, which wraps around a Git repository, and talking to GitHub on the back end and all that good stuff. So the first thing is, there's a lot of changes to this to-do file. I think, first of all, I'm just going to save that off, to-do file changes, and then we can start whittling away at that as we start committing things. So for me, sometimes it's harder to use this built-in UI to compare stuff. For instance, I'm not exactly sure what's going on here. So you can use the built-in side-by-side UI, and you can also use third-party comparison programs. In this case, I'm using Beyond Compare, which is what I'm used to. Okay, so we had tried to use our knowledge that we didn't have a quest selected in order to optimize checking for failed or completed quest. But then the whole backgrounding thing came up, and that didn't work anymore. We have to check for failed or completed quests even if we don't have that quest active, in case it's something like the Fat Mayor, in which case we want to stop tracking it. Or Bounder Rounds, for instance. So now this is showing me just line by line changes instead of more conceptual chunking of the changes. How was it? Oops. How was it when Beyond Compare is just so good for the way I want to look at file differences. So, but I can see why it would do that because, anyway, none of this changed. Great. And then we have if completed quest or failed a quest, then check for that's one of the ones in progress. Excellent. We needed that. Okay. This is a helper function, should process chat. That's going to take, I feel like we need to update this comment actually. So we're in chat logger, that's line, oh no. New computer, I didn't say enable line numbers. Let's see. Line number. There we go. No. I'll have to find that later. Okay. Line number 108 says the bottom. Okay. So line 108 of the chat logger. Good. Should process quest key Bree fireworks. So if we're looking for yes. So we're just using this quest key here, not this whole list here. And then got a better comment. Excellent. So again, instead of doing an inline here and having to keep adding more and more logic, we just say, okay, we've got a helper function for this. Same thing here, helper function. Oh, but we're passing it in quotes. Excellent. I should make a note of that. E.g. quote Bree fireworks. which is a string. Great. All right, another should, great. All of that is great. And changes to allow backgrounding. So far. All right, festival functions. Selected quest key. That was actually very handy. In fact, that could be a separate thing where we track the selected quest key. Let's see where else we see that. Stage that there. All right, load quest. Oh, I see. That's not really going to be very helpful. Okay, I thought we could separate that out. That's okay. Cool. Okay, so festival functions. What do we have? We have the background and auto open checkboxes. So backgrounding and auto open. So we're going to go ahead and include this. We have the settings in progress quests. Great. Tracking our in progress quests allows us to know that something is in the background. It includes in progress quests for backgrounding. Okay. And then check for in progress quests that is completed or failed, again, is in a backgrounding detail. Globals. This is where our new settings come from. In progress quest is character, yeah, and then account wide quest is auto open, quest is backgroundable, and then our backgroundable quests. All of that looks great. All right. Our main function, holy moly, there are a number of changes there, and I want to see that in Beyond Compare. All right, so we have a new patch data save, great. We have a helper load file. Oh, of course, that is going to mess with this because our two helpers, load file into table and merge default into table, were going to help us really simplify this load data function, which had duplicated code, do all this work for saved settings, and then we wanted to do the exact same thing a second time now for the account stuff. So extracted that all out. Now we have load file into table, merge default into table, done. Do that twice, and we're good. And then finally, we did add this helpful comment that we're pretty sure this is an outdated thing that is being set to nil, so it stops being persisted. Always nice to comment why you're setting the value to nil, what's up with that, but I'm sure the author knew in his head what was going on and just forgot to comment it. All right, happy with what's in main. Main window. What do we got here? Okay, we are saving room at the bottom of that quest space for checkboxes. Excellent. We're making the checkboxes. We have a helper load quest that we're using instead of doing this inline over here. And we can see the first of this, set the text, emotes, and QS. Oh, I can see we still have a debug line over there. We do not want that. So we're going to nix that. Excellent. So we do have that set text, emotes, and QS quick slot. We've also are saving off that selected quest key we were looking at before. And then that whole put a special case here for brief fireworks. Okay. And then now we're looking at the settings auto open. We're looking at making the checkboxes visible and setting their values, which isn't reflected in that comment. Let's go ahead and tweak that comment. Make the checkboxes visible if appropriate, and set value. Okay. And the only other change is the removal, the hoisting out of that code into a helper function. Great. Main win is good to go. Options window. Now, the one thing is we had copied some of these mayor strings from the wiki, and some of them were just a little wrong. So this is just a quick fix. Actually, that doesn't even go here. We'll bring that into a second commit. And then finally, we have these errors. We added some errors during the load, and we have that background and auto open for the checkboxes. There we go. So everything looks great. Everything's working fine. Fixed mayor text for debug command. There we go. Okay. So that kind of catches us up. That's where we left off last time. Everything was working, but it wasn't committed. We hadn't gone through and made sure that we were working fully. Obviously, there was that bug, and we hadn't taken those snapshots or committed those changes. Okay. Well, in that case, done. Let's see what else we can do besides fixing a bug that I didn't even know was there. In fact, let's come on into this to-do file. And we have these auto-open kind of requirements or design specs. And all of them are listed as done. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. It's there in the repository in the source control if we need it. All right, backgroundable. All of this is done. Great. Now we're on to new stuff. All right, to-do file changes. So Quest is backgroundable. I didn't like that name. Like, that was my first stab at naming a setting. But if we're going to fix it, we want to fix it before this gets shipped out to any users, because changing your keys in your save files is annoying, right? You have an unknown number of users who are using that old key. So you either support it forever or you break users, and both of those come with their own problems. So let's find every place this is used, first of all. It doesn't convey the impression that the user has marked it as backgroundable. Okay. Is Quest backgrounded? Well, that seems like a better name. Okay, I like that. We're going to start with that. Is Quest backgroundable? Or backgrounded, I should say. Or just, instead of Quest is backgroundable, Quest is backgrounded. Maybe I like that. That seems a little bit more active. Quest is backgrounded. Quest is backgrounded. Quest is backgrounded. Quest is auto open. Okay. I think I like that. Now what we want to do is unload the plugin and then come on in to the save file, plugin data file. So we're going to go to plugin data and account all servers, and this is the Festival Buddy account settings file. And in here, we have Quest is backgroundable. We want to change that Quest is backgrounded to match. And now there is no Quest is backgroundable. If I come on in here to a market list, we can see that checkbox is there. If I come on in here to bound around, we can see auto open. Oh, sorry, bound around is checked. And so if we deselect that, great. Unload, come back in. That's funny. Quest is backgroundable is still present because it was in memory, though never used. So go ahead and reload. Fat Mayor is not. Bound around is great. Unload, and why did it come back? Did I miss it somewhere? Oh, I didn't actually save some of these files. Save all. Okay, coming back into that Sublime text file, we're going to go ahead and quest is backgroundable. We're just going to nix that, bring it back in, unload. Great. Quest is backgrounded is there. Now we can also come back in, unselect one of them. Great, it's gone from the file. Boundaries rounds is checked. Interesting. Something's not right. Okay, why is that checked? Fascinating. Of course, the default settings. I put these in here for testing purposes, and now it's coming back to bite me. So we want default settings to include this. Oh, that's a good question, though. Do we want to go ahead and include that? Maybe I'll throw that out to my resident festival player, Little Redhead. Should this include some of these things automatically turned on? For instance, a market list by default popping up in the UI, and then you having to deselect that box if you don't want it to work that way. And then same thing. So for instance, a market list, I've just accepted it from the NPC, and boom, the UI pops open. Or with if you have accepted the Fat Mayor quest, Fat Mayor accept, but then you've gone and accepted a different quest like a market list, still seeing those mayor announcements, even though you don't have that quest here. I don't know. Do those feel like sensible defaults or intrusive defaults? Anyone else who wants to speak up in chat, feel free. Okay, so I'm hearing that if Little Redhead, at least, has, say, Bounder rounds active, and then went ahead and picked up a market list, that Little Redhead would still like to see those Drunk Hobbit announcements, for instance, by default. Okay. Maybe that makes sense to ship with these, except that it keeps on overwriting my stuff. I have to look at that. Interesting. So right now, the way the default merging is working is we're bringing these things in. Because we're eliminating the entries completely by setting them to nil instead of just setting them to false, the merge code can't tell the difference. It says, oh, that's missing, let's add it back in. So I think the setting it to nil instead of setting it to false is coming back to bite me a little bit. And in that case, we would want to go ahead and okay, so here we can actually simplify this. Local value to use equals nil, that would actually be false. And then if is checked, then value to use is true. This is a complicated way of saying local value to use equals is checked, which is to say we can just pass is checked in and call it good. And we can do the same thing for both of these, in fact. We have is checked. We don't need to do this nil or true value. We can just do is checked and call that good. And if that's the case, come back on in, come on into Bound Rounds, deselect the background, unload, reload, come back into Bound Rounds, and it is deselected. In fact, if we look at that file unloaded, we can see we have true and false in the file instead of true and not there at all. And that's going to protect that merging. The merging is going to see the key is there, happens to be false, and leave it alone instead of seeing a missing key, which I was doing to be clever, I'll admit. I thought, hey, why have a thing in here? Well, the answer is so that you don't get another thing in here. Okay, that's fair. We'll also double check the quest is auto open. So right now, if we come into market list, it's set to auto open, deselect, unload. We do see a market list is now false, which means if we load and come back in, it's going to persist that value. Okay. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and leave these as default values. Okay, I'm a little worried that that was not saved, but true, false, true, 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 true. Okay, false or true, false, true. Okay. So we'll go ahead and leave these default account-wide settings as enabled, and people get the benefit of that, and approximately checks wrist 11 months. But that means anytime for any other quest where we think that background ability is good, in fact, we already have one, now that I think about it, background. Oh yeah, backgrounded quests down here. For Brie Fireworks, we're going to want that to be true as well. So let's go ahead. Brie Fireworks equals true. And we can even delineate these anniversary. This is Farmers Faire. And actually, I would want to replicate that. Farmers Faire. I'd want to replicate that down here under backgroundable quests as well. Nope. Okay. And Farmers Faire. Okay, that'll give us a little bit more context when we're looking at this later on. And background requests, all of the ones that we know about right now, are enabled for backgrounding by default out of the box. Okay, love it. Let's come look and see what, if anything, we've done. Okay, fixed name of setting to be more accurate. And that one's going to affect our to-do file. I'm going to come on in and just delete this to show that we did it. Okay, quest is backgroundable, fix this name, yep. So we've got the is backgrounded, yep. Here, we're going to fix that. Backgrounded. Yes. Also prevent disabled option from being overwritten by merge. That one's just for free because it's going to be a little annoying to wrap it in. Okay, and then we go ahead and add comments for which festival quest comes from. Okay, that is almost all of this. We can say that. See, the only thing is that Brie Fireworks, we can separate this out. Awesome, and then added Brie Fireworks to backgrounded defaulted. Backgrounded. Bam, perfect. Okay, another nice to have, done. One thing I thought would be very interesting is we have the idea of your in-progress quests. It's very opaque, like we don't have a list of seeing it where we think those are in progress anywhere in the UI. It could be interesting, especially if we're not making use of these this space up here. But either way, I think if we think you only have one quest in progress, we should just select that in the UI. So, what would that look like? We have a load quest function. So when we're starting up, if we only see one in progress quest, we should just call load quest with it. And then if it happens to be an auto open, we will automatically get the UI to open as a freebie. So the question is, where does that happen? And I think the answer is, we want to come into main. Sure, we have a load data function. And I don't actually remember where this is. Oh, okay. This is in settings. So when we're done with settings, we should have an in progress quest populated. Might be empty. So that's settings here. Okay, so much stuff going on. This might not be a reasonable place to do this, though, because the main window doesn't exist yet. Might not exist yet. Let's find out where it exists. Okay, load the data, draw windows. So really probably in draw windows is where we want that. Okay, so after the main win is drawn, or maybe during the drawing of the main win, we're going to come on in here. And after everything else is done, great, we're going to go ahead and if there are quests in progress, if there is only one quest in progress, load it into the UI. So if something, 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 then something, something, something else, pretty much. But here's where we have to fill that in. So in globals, we know this was called in progress quests. So if settings dot in progress quest, and we're just looking for the number of that, and I believe the pound or octothorpe or hashtag symbol is going to give us that. Then load quest, and that's going to be settings in progress quest 1. That's actually not going to be correct because these have keys, don't they? They do. In fact, the octothorpe symbol might not be correct for that. Let's go ahead and actually print that out. So turbine.shell.writeLine, we want to print out that octothorpe settings. We're going to come on in, I'll load that in, fail. Okay, 359. What's going on? We don't have a selected festival. We would need a refresh festival. Oh, okay, this is going to be a little bit harder than I was thinking of. Okay, so we need a festival lookup. But we are going to need refresh festival. Okay. So that's going to be, where is this? Fill main win, yes. Okay, so then we need to refresh festivals, something, something. And for that, we need a local, actually, let's go ahead and comment that out. I do want to just see what this was going to put. Number of those is 0, okay? If we add in market list, accept that, unload, reload, we're still getting 0. And I want to say in the actual file, and this is going to be a separate file, this is going to be under plugin data, server, character, festival buddy settings, in progress quest. Oh, okay. So the problem was actually I already had one. Let's go ahead and only have a market list, load, great. So we're getting 0 on that, and that's because we don't have numerically indexed here, and that's going to be a problem for us. You know, off the top of my head, I don't remember if there's an easy way to count how many entries there are on a table if they're not numerically indexed. So Lua, count table items, not, yeah. Sure, let's go to Stack Overflow. It is often nice. Okay, they're commenting same problem. The table.getIn and the more new Octothorpe are only counting entries with integer keys. So how do you do this? And the answer is you could always count through them using pairs. Great. Interesting. They have some more stuff. Yes, of course, it's not just integer keys. You also need contiguous range of integer keys. Okay, we're going to go ahead and accept that that's how we're going to have to iterate through that table. Oh well. So, if we have festival functions, I don't know. Yeah, it's probably a festival function. So, let's see. I'm going to make a new function get number of in progress quests. And it is just going to do that thing. Settings.in progress quests. So we have local count equals 0. For, we don't actually care about the stuff, and pairs of settings in progress quests do, and then we can just say count equals count plus 1, and an end on there. Excellent. So we can return that count. That is inspired by an answer here. And one thing I like to do, if I'm going to do that, is go ahead and comment that. So, inspired by this answer. That way, if I'm ever coming back here and be like, where did I get that idea? Why am I doing that? Well, the answer is because something online suggested it might work. And in this case, it's this thing. Okay, so we are iterating through. Great. And we can use this instead of our broken code. So local in progress quests count equals that. And now we can go ahead and output that so we can double check that we are indeed getting the answers we're expecting. So if in progress quest count is equals 1, then we need a festival. Local festival key equals something. And this is where we need another helper, I think. Remember that the festivals look like this, where we're in, for instance, Lang, and we have festivals, and then we're in spring, summer, harvest, math, Yule, anniversary, etc. But what we're actually looking for is under quests, spring, whatever, we have the names of each of these quests. So we can iterate through the quests table, looking under each festival to see if it has the quest we're looking for, and if it does, that's the one. So, pretty straightforward. Function, get festival from quest key. Quest key. So get festival number in this case. So local festival number, we're going to just say that's equal to 1, which is, I believe, what spring is. Yes, it is. And finally, we're going to return festival number. Now, actually, 0 is a better default if we didn't find the festival. Okay. Now, we already had some iterating code out there. I'd prefer not to reinvent the wheel, as it were. So, actually, I think it's in festival functions, now that I think about it. Okay, so this double loop here, looping through each of the festivals and then each of the quests in each of the festivals, is what we're interested in. Okay, so if the key equals the quest key, then, and in fact here we can just return festival number. End. And at the end, we can just return 0. We don't need this declaration up here then. So that's our basic iteration. Go through each of the festivals, go through each of the quests in the festival. If you find a matching quest, return it. Now, this is not the most efficient thing. We have to check every quest, but we only have a few dozen of them. It's very fast. And we're only doing this once on plugin startup. Now, we could save ourselves some effort, perhaps by saving off the current festival, not just the current quest. Or I should say, the festival for each of those quests. Wait, maybe we do. Hang on. In progress quests. Wait, we do because we saw that. In progress quests, each one of those. Okay, yes. Well, that's funny. We do actually save out the festival. But if you had in progress quests for multiple festivals, that'd be a little weird. But we're not going to stop you. Maybe we should stop you. Nah, not right now. Maybe I'll write a button to clear this out. Okay, a market list equals 6. So our in-progress quest is actually already giving us that. This whole function is a waste of time. I'm going to probably delete this one. This one, we don't need it. Easy enough to recreate later if we want it. So the festival key equals I really wish I could combine counting the number of in-progress quests with combine easily, I should say, counting the number of quests with returning the quests, but I have to think about that. Let's go ahead and unload, reload, see where we are. Great, in progress quests 1. And we'll go ahead and add bounder rounds, unload, reload. We see in progress quest 2. Let's go ahead and complete bounder rounds, unload, reload, and we're back to 1. Okay, that at least is working. Okay. So for key, value, and pairs, do, okay, so local quest key equals that. Local quest, no, festival number equals 0. And then we'll just go ahead and set quest key equals key, and festival number equals value. Why don't you like that? I don't have a then. That's a very important keyword. Oh, no, do. Missing the do. Okay, so we now have the quest key and the quest festival. Done with that. We can refresh festival with that festival number. Great. And then we also have the quest key. So we can go ahead and do a load quest as well. Does that take a quest key? It does. So that's a possibility. Let's unload and reload and figure out what's up with that. No. Well, that's okay. We're seeing a fireworks event quick slot failure because it hasn't been drawn yet. Why are we looking at that? Well, we are calling this refresh festival and load quest key a bit earlier than we would have been. So if we're in fireworks event quick slots, that's line 80. This is toggle fireworks visibility. And we can see that that is being called with close helper windows. I bet if we're in load quest, no, yes, load quest does toggle visibility. So obviously there is an error here. I bet we are not drawing that fireworks event quick slot window before the main. Do we need the main? Main. We sure do probably not. Let's go ahead and move it up before the main window. Cool, awesome. Now actually, that worked pretty well, except we can see this drop-down didn't load. So let's try to figure out why that was. The redhead likes that. Yes, definitely maybe. Okay, so if we are in load quest, where else have we seen load quest? And I guess we should ask ourselves, what's up? What's up with that? Load quest is coming from here. DD set quest. Okay, that should really be in the load quest, I feel like. Setting that drop down is an important thing. So we're going to go ahead and hoist that up. Refresh quest guide. We're going to go ahead and do that first thing in here instead. Oh, but we... Oh. I kind of want to do it anyway. Where all is this being used anyway? Just here. Okay. So that quest name is being passed in. Okay. So, quest key, quest name. We'll pass that into load quest. Wait, where all is getting that? Oh. Okay, load quest is going to have to redo the work to get this name. I think that's easiest. In that case, we're doing land quest selected festival. Yes. And underneath that, we have settings.language. Okay. Maybe feel a little silly if it. No. Okay. Local quest name equals that. It's going to feel a little silly if the quest name is already being grabbed in some way here, but it was not. Okay, and that was enough to get this to work. A market list is being populated. If we come in and say a market list is completed, the next time we load, nothing happens. Come on in and activate Bounder Rounds. We're going to go ahead and accept that. Unload that, reload that, it's still active. Now, of course, if we also have a market list activated, come back in. Right now, we're not actually doing anything with that. And I wonder if that makes sense. Should we load a quest that we think is active? I don't know. If there's more than one quest active, do we just throw our hands up and let you deal with it? I don't know. The other thing is I'm worried about this whole we think you have quests active, but what if you don't scenario. So I feel like it would be useful to have a button here that just says reset what the plugin thinks you have quest in progress. I don't know. That's terrible. To do. Add option to reset quests in progress. Question mark? I had to think about that. So my basic thought was, if we think you have it in progress, then, like, a backgroundable one especially. So if we think you have Bounders Rounds active, then the whole time you're running around Bywater, you're going to see the Drunk Hobbit text popping up even if you don't want it to. And the answer would be unbackground it, which is kind of annoying. Or nothing. There's no other answer. Other than the next time you pick it up and drop it off, hopefully we catch that. All right, so Festival Buddy thinks you have the following quests in progress. Click DX to clear the quest. Force Festival Buddy to think you do not have the quest active. That is so wordy. There's got to be a better way to express that idea. Naming things is hard. Describing things is harder. Okay. There we go. That's something. Where was I? Automatically select a quest if it's the only one. Yes. Done. Now, if you got more than one, I would almost say we could do this if you have two or more and all but one of them are backgroundable, then you still just select the one. But I really think this is good for most of my cases. Especially, testing the plugin. This is going to be way better if I have market list, for instance. Accepted, unload, reload. I must have more than one quest active. Yeah, I still have Bandarounds active. So, yeah, if I am loading that, just having it go straight to a market list, that's going to be very handy for me. And it doubles as to forcing you to the correct festival. Okay, let's come on into our source control and see what have we done. Oh, we haven't marked off our to-do item. Let's do that. Okay, so commit subject. Automatically select quest if it's the only one in progress. All right. Festival functions get number of in progress quests. We didn't need the festival number from festival key one. Discard that. Okay. We had to remove the move the festival fireworks so it's done. Options window, nothing changed there. And then this is where we're loading. Yes. And this is where we hoisted out. Hang on a sec. I want to commit that in a different order as it turns out. So we're going to go ahead and unstage all of that. Main window. So load quest drop down. Quests drop down with quest name in load quest. Simple. Don't need that. Okay, so DD quest here, we're going to go ahead and stage that and do it in load quest instead, and that'll be more generic. Anyone saying load quests automatically gets the dropdown for free. Then we can go back to this other one, which is loading automatically selecting the quest. Excellent. Yes, yes, and all of that. Okay, awesome. Add option to reset quest. Okay, thinking about that. Add ability to pin a quest, so accepting the quest doesn't. Yeah, I think we've done this. Pull it away. Instead of pinning, we did backgrounding. Let's say need to track which quests have been accepted but not completed. Done. If a background quest is started but not finished, then chat monitor can continue. Done, as is backgroundable. Yep. I'm hearing cat noises, I think. Okay, so yeah. And add option to automatically open UI for certain quests. Done. Need to hook up initial state. Yep. Initial value, change value. And if deselecting, deleting from table. As it turns out, it was not nice for that. Okay. Awesome. So that was just repeats before we kind of fleshed out what that design would look like. All right, what do we have? Alt window doesn't respond to escape or F12. Well, that is sad. The alt window, which normally has more information in it. All right, let's go ahead and pause for a minute, and I'll go ahead and put some alt information in there. That's in plugin data, And I'm going to go ahead and it's open in another. Yeah, it sure is. Great. So refreshing, reloading. Surely. Okay. Gone ahead and loaded that up. So mark a list. Perfect. Unload, reload. Great. So if we go to our alts, we're going to have a list here, and we can go check our progress through the festival with each of them. Matters less for the Farmers Fair, but if we come into Harvest Math, that's going to be very useful to be able to see which of your characters can go do those bobbing for apples and whatnot. So, I think it'd be even more cool if it like automatically popped up an alt that's ready to go, but that's okay, one thing at a time. It looks like the alt is not discarding session play, so that's automatically a thing we should look at anytime when you're tracking character names. Okay, alt window should exclude session play. In general, you cannot complete festival quests in session play. And I would like this to be sorted as well. Sort list of alts in alt window. I have a lot of them, and finding them in a random hash order is just no good for me. Also, the main thing was that if you press the F12 button, this window doesn't respect that. And same thing for the escape button. So we're going to fix both of that and maybe some of these other things. Okay, so alt window. I'm going to hold off on this reset quest in progress thing. It's interesting to me, but not as important. So what do we do with F12? What's going on here? F12. So Festival Buddy main window has a toggle, key action toggle HUD. That's what it's called when you go look at the key bindings. So if we come to key mapping, what you're looking for is the toggle HUD on off. That's by default, I think, bound to F12, and that's what hides everything, makes for very nice screenshots. So again, I've mentioned this before, I'll harp on and on about it. If you're going to name something after an in-game key binding, name the variable the same thing. This says toggle HUD on off. Then key action toggle HUD. Don't, hide screen is just it's descriptive, but it doesn't match what the game calls the thing. And for that, for me, it's worthwhile naming the thing after what the game calls it. You can match the two up much more easily, especially when you're talking key actions. Same thing, actually, when it comes to the other one, which is reposition UI. Reposition UI. That's what the game calls control / this thing. So many plugins that I've seen, well, a non-zero number anyway, will call that unlocking or moving or whatever, which is great until you're trying to figure out what does this really do. And the answer is it's responding to reposition UI. That's all it's trying to care about. And that way you know if it's working or not. So name your variables after what the game calls the things. Making up your own terms for clearly established terms. It doesn't feel like it's helping. Anyway. That way lies folly, as Little Redhead says. I like it. So, we are already responding to the F12 key. Where are we doing that? We're doing that here in wmain winParent.keyDown. I bet other places have it too. .keyDown. Not in Festival Buddy, as it turns out. Okay, we're going to go ahead and set the main window, and then we're also doing other things. I guess we should just do it here as well. So that is the alts. Draw alt win. Okay, so draw alt win is in the alt win window, and we get a w alt win parent. So we want to pass this on. What do we have? Does alt win have any special functionality? No. Okay, how are we showing it in main win? Set visible. Fantastic. Okay. Now the trick here is when we are hiding the UI, we have two states. We have should the window be visible and is it visible now? So wow, that's an exciting noise from the neighbors. They're probably tired of hearing me talk anyway. They'll be done bringing their awning in shortly. Okay, so here we have settings.showScreen, and how are we handling this? Okay. So we have the main settings and we have the settings.showScreen. Does the alt window have its own settings? Alts, and then come on into plugins, unload, reload. No, but apparently I mistyped something somewhere in the barter window of all places. Was I even in there? Oh, of course. I didn't stop to think. The barter window needs to be drawn higher as well. In fact, the main win should just be drawn after everything else. It should not. The alt win expects the main win to be drawn. Ah, so much cyclical nature. Well, we'll hope that's the last of them. Sure. Let's check the barter win. Unload, reload. Okay, barter win is also, so everything I was talking about for the alt window may also be, all right, barter window doesn't respond to escape or F12. I assume it doesn't respond to escape. It does not. Okay. So we're going to want both of those. I dislike how this logic is written. If the current settings is false, then we're going to be true. Do I do anything about it for readability? Local. Settings.show. I guess, does anyone else care about this? Probably not. Equals not settings.showScreen. Okay, I believe you can just do a unary not like that. We should double check before I get too into this. Yeah, okay. So that equals not, and then if settings.showScreens else, okay, and then get rid of that. Cool. So that's a little bit easier for me to read. Toggle this setting, and then based on the new setting, setting the visibility. Okay, so that, if we come into settings, alt win visible and barter win visible. Okay. All right. The barter window, we can take care of that as well. Barter win, W barter win parent. Same thing. And then in the other branch, we just want to go ahead and set that to false. They just need to not be visible at this time. But crucially, we're not changing that setting. We're only changing its temporary visibility. So if we come in here, great. F12, great. Now, if I go ahead and pop the UI back up without letting the plugins back in, unload and reload, yeah, that seems about right. So, oh, that's fun. Okay, my logic is not working well there. I thought I was being clever. Apparently I was not. So we're going to back out the show screen inversion thing. I thought I could just make it easier to read, but that's why we have source control. All right, so what did we change? Too much, as it turns out. So we're going to go ahead and back out these 3 lines. Boop. Go ahead and back out these 2 lines. Back out these 2 lines. Oh. No. Doesn't seem to have fixed the problem. What is the problem? Let's come on into the save file and see if the problem is there. Okay, this is Treebeard, this is Affodil, and this is the Festival Buddy settings. Great. Show screen was saved as false. That will get you. By default, you normally really can't. Well, I don't know. That's an interesting one. Show screen should not be false when you first. I'm gonna go ahead and declare it. Show screen is bad to be false when you log in. When you first load the plugin. Default setting show screen equals true. Absolutely, but I think we need to enforce that when we are loading. Otherwise, you'll get into this situation where it is possible to have hidden the UI and then press escape so that the UI thinks it's still hidden or not. So it's out of sync with the game. And then if you save that off to the save file, then it just gets wonky, as we just saw. So I think we want to say that when we are loading this, after at the end of load data, we have loaded settings. Great. Settings dot show screen equals true. Assume the UI is visible when the. Now I'm doing it again. Now I'm. Oh, it's in here. Assume the HUD. Assume the HUD is toggled to visible when the plugin is loaded. That's just a better assumption, I think. Unload, reload, cool. Okay, much better. So I get to keep my my refactoring in MainWin about how we deal with the toggle HUD. That makes me happy. So we're setting this screen to the windows to whatever they were, or we're setting them to false. Great. I feel like we're going to want those fireworks ones also. Because if I come on in here, okay, we have all of that. Dance. Dance isn't hiding, okay. Dance when has a visibility, okay. So dance, dance parent. Okay, set visible to settings. Dot dance when dot visible. Great. And also to false. Great. Now DanceWin is not doing it. We have the BarterWin, DanceWin, AltSwin. Great. We also want to check out in the anniversary, there is a Fireworks and Brie UI. You can overlay this on top of the event quick slot window. Is it just responding itself? It might be responding itself to this. Toggle visibility, yeah. Toggle HUD fireworks. Oh, okay. Yeah, I just made a function for that. Great. Probably unnecessarily complicated, but I do like giving each window its own ability to control this stuff. So ideally for me, toggle HUD fireworks, they'd be toggle HUD main, toggle HUD alt, toggle HUD barter window, toggle HUD dance, and so on. I think ideally, I'd probably change my mind halfway through. I'm fickle like that. Okay. So barter window doesn't respond to escape or F12. What about escape? Yeah, I could see that being a thing. Let's go ahead and assume we do want the same change for these. So escape. We're going to want to do kind of the same thing. So we've already got the main win. So we're going to go ahead and false equals false. Settings barter when visible. This feels like a lot of copy pasting that maybe should be extracted out, hoisted into a common function. Copy equal false, and then passing false on in here. So much redundancy. All right, so if we come back in here and hit an escape, awesome. Now if we do festival, only the festival window opens back up. So we're doing good there. All right, another question, anniversary, fireworks and Brie. Fireworks and Brie UI is also not going away. Probably should be. Where is our visibility? Is window visible? Set visible to false. Was set visible. Set bar visible. Where else is this set? Oh, is this not done in firework? Yeah, okay. That doesn't have its own visibility. Okay. So, super easy. Toggle visibility fireworks, false. And thus by toggle it means do the other? No, it just means that. Yeah, toggle's not the right word for that, but we're gonna leave it. Okay, unloading that, or reloading that. You know what, we're gonna go ahead and complete a market list. And go ahead and do fireworks in Brie. So that we get this again. Okay, so. Let's see, there's a cat in my background. Good job, cat. Way to be precisely behind me. Yeah. Okay, so the fireworks in Brie is going away there. If I press escape, it also goes away. Great. So, fireworks in Brie window isn't responding to escape or escape. All right, so we've got our to-do file changes. To-do file changes. A little more. A little more. Keep going. Good enough. Okay, so what do we have? Alt Windows doesn't respond to escape or F12. Alt Windows should exclude session play. Well, we'll come back to that. Alt Windows doesn't respond to now. Responds to escape or F12. Great. So that is in fixed window ordering. Yeah, we'll go after that. Main window. What's going on here? Oh, right. I changed how that logic is working. So instead, we're going to go ahead and commit this, and this, and this. Okay. Made toggle HUD logic easier for me to read. Okay, there we go. So, Alt window now responds to escape or F12. Great. Here's that. Here's that. Here is that. All right, the next one, barter window doesn't respond to escape or F12. Well, it does now. So barter window doesn't. Barter window now responds to escape or F12. So go ahead and come on in here. That is barter window there, barter window here, and barter window there. Basically the same thing. Dance window now responds to escape or F12. Great. Stage that, and stage that, and stage this. Didn't even have a to-do file for that. And then fireworks in Brie. Window now responds to escape. Great. And that is this one. Toggle fireworks, false. Bam. Fix, set. You know, that's a thing. Why should show screen even be in there? It's good to have it in the settings, I guess. Set settings dot show screen to true on plugin load. This is usually going to be correct. False in file makes for weird behavior most of the time. Fantastic. Okay, that alt window. Let's come back in there. Now, I realize I have maybe a few more alts than some people do. Totally okay. But when we pull up this alts window, I would very much like to have this in alphabetical order. So, first things first. We know there is a sort function. We used it previously. Looks like it's table.sort, pass in the table. Okay. So, if that's the case, let's see what we can do about that. Okay, so we have alts equals get alt names, great. Table.sort alts. So much better, love it. Now, we still do have the session play character. That's okay. We'll get back to that. But in the meantime, yes. You know, I say yes. How is the args.text? Okay, so we're just sending the text, not like a number or something. Great. Making sure I'm not messing myself up, because I don't actually know how much of each token my alts have. I just know they each have a bunch of them. Now, I think the Mythor coin's interesting because, of course, that's account-wide. But that's how much your alt has access to, so sure. Well, in that case, alt window, sort list of alts in the alt window. Done. Super easy. What else? Alt windows should exclude session play. I totally agree with this. So, two phases. One, if there is session play in the save file, we want to get rid of that. And two, if we are doing a session play, we don't want to save that. Or do we? Well, I don't care if we save it. We just want to get rid of it as soon as... Yeah, maybe. Let's take a look at that, how that looks in the save file. So, Treebeard, Affadel. We do have a festival buddy. Okay. Now, some plugins will just say, oh, you're doing session play. I'm not going to bother loading because what's the point? Festival Buddy might be a good candidate for this. I overdid this once with the Deed Tracker plugin, where it wasn't loading in session play, and then I was in session play, and I was like, but I just want to see the completed status for some of my characters, right? I don't want it for this character. I want to look at the alts, exactly what we're doing here. And I guess maybe you could want to do that in session play as well. So maybe just right before we save, if the current character is session play, then exclude it from the settings or something. Maybe. Nah. I think the easiest thing is just to get rid of it if we load it. Okay. That'll defeat both of our objectives, which is it's already out in some save files and addressing it going forward. So when we are in the load data, we need to... Oh, this is the wrong one. I'm sorry. We need to come out here to treebeard all characters and find that festival buddy care data. Okay, that's what we want. So we're looking for something called care data. Care data. Okay. So we're going to load that. Great. Update old format to new format. Love it. Okay, I'm going to do this as a separate comment. Remove any session play characters. Or, yeah, player name. Festivals tip? Yes, okay. For player name, festivals table in pairs of card data do if, and now I need to remember how to look at that first character of a string. Don't remember how to do that, but I know the D tracker does know how to do that. So we're going to come on in here to Documents, Plugging Along. We're going to come on in here to Plugins, Cube Plugins, It's Me, D tracker, and then, wherever this is. Main, maybe. Great. So, if string colon substring, or sub, starting at position 1, going for one character, equals tilde. Perfect. That's exactly what we needed. So, same thing, if player name colon substring, then end. What we need is card data, player name equals nil. And that is all. So, how do we know this is going to work? Well, first of all, if it works, we're going to lose this test file very fast. So what I want to do is come on in to here. Oh, Arthur asks a very good question. Is it a tilde in the French and German versions too? Arthur would assume so. I have implicitly assumed so as well. I haven't done a session play well on French or German clients. I'm going to say there's so many other English-specific changes in here that aren't yet supported on French or German that I'm okay with this, but I suspect the answer is probably. I mean, tilde doesn't specifically make sense on English either, does it? Like, it's just a character. It's a way for them to be like, nope, this is you, but it's not really you. Like, tilde doesn't have that special meaning in English anymore than maybe it would in French or German for this purpose. But that's a really interesting question. Make that a to-do item. To-do. Find out if French/German session play also uses the tilde prefix convention. Cool. Excellent question. Thanks, Arthur. So, as I said, we're about to lose this very excellent testing data, so we're going to just save it as a backup file. I like using the .bak extension. It kind of dates back to pre-Windows days, but it's muscle memory at this point. Okay, so with that, we're going to go ahead and load. And there's no tilde affidel. If we go ahead and unload at this point, then what we should see is that, hey, where did I save that? What we should see is Festival Buddy, this should just be missing that one section. Now everything else might be reordered as well. We can definitely see some reordering happening. But the big thing is what? now I'm confused. So we're going to reset this and try it again. Let's come back into our text editor and search for that tilde. Was the tilde not here? Surely it was. Hang on a second. Okay, there's Affodil. Where is that coming from? Care data. Okay. Festival Buddy, care data. Great. Oh, well, that's one thing. They've encoded it? Is that? No, who's doing that? That's so weird. I was not expecting to see that tilde escaped, but nor was I expecting to see a different character go missing. Which I have a feeling is a sign that I did something wrong in the code, which is why we test these things. Alright, don't delete the stuff. So turbine.shell.writeLine found character with a leading tilde, and that is player name. Okay, we'll just go with that. Load. Found a character with leading tilde Affodil. Great. So character player name equals nil. Feels like it should have worked. Let's check it out. Okay. Yes. Bavaker is not showing up. Why is... Okay. Bavaker is still there at line 948. Ow! Of course, things are being reordered, but they have such identical information of all zeros that I was getting thrown. Fantastic. So, I say this over and over, and I should know this, but the order of a table being written out is not fixed. It is not based on any visible property of the table. It's probably a hash inside, and it will just randomly change on you. So right here we can see that Barimer was written out in that order, Galerda over here. In general, on a client, if you have the same keys for a table, you're likely to get the same ordering. But what I did was remove one of the keys, which, assuming there's an underlying binary tree that got reordered in there, then it just shuffled things around. And so Galerda took the place of Barimer in that tree. And then Barimer took the place of Bavaker, and so on. Okay, so I was a little worried that I was just randomly deleting the wrong thing, but we can see in here, Affodil with a tilde is not there. Affodil with a tilde would have been there. Okay, cool. So, note, this should fix any existing session play characters. And in save files and prevent new session plays from persisting. Sure. More of a note for me than for anyone else. Why did I do this? Okay, so alt window should exclude session play. Should and does. Great. Dun, dun, dun. Alt window should exclude session play. Alt window excludes session play. Great. Which I'm very pleased with because now it can come into the alt window and just get the characters that are likely to have festival information. And now they're in order. It's awesome. So, upcoming Harvest Math is going to be very interesting. I'll get a chance to play around with these quest status markers for whatever characters I'm interested in. I do think I will probably not do the festival with as many characters. Some of these characters are more equal than others, but we'll see. We'll see. All right. So I'm happy with those file comparisons. Great. Add option to reset quests. Probably not going to have time for that today. I'm interested in listing out the quests that we think we have and putting an X next to each of them, or just an X for all of them, instead of just like clear all of them. And then again, I'm not sure how necessary this feature is. So I'm still thinking about that. Making the alert window movable. I think that's an awesome idea. But I think the settings for that might make that a little tricky. Barter items is a great idea, but I'm going to put a pass on that until closer to Farmers Faire. French and German strings from MacArthur. Thanks for sending those. Still haven't gotten to that. Auto show UI for some quests. Done. Support multiple quests active at the same time. Similar to quest log. Yep. Alert would have to stop being signaled. You know, that hasn't been a problem. I've done Bounder Rounds and Fat Mare at the same time live during the festival, and it wasn't that bad. For one thing, it only takes a second for me to read, oh, what does the mayor need? And the mayor only happens once every approximate 60 seconds, plus or minus. There's some wiggle room there. So, yeah, Bound Around is normally done by that, right? You can do it in 3 hobbits, and it just goes bam, bam, bam. So, the singleton thing, I think, going to punt that as well. I just, that's more work than it's worth. Okay. Oh, alert window movable, I think, is my next favorite option here then. So what we saw, and let's go ahead and enable that mayor. Okay. Is when the mayor calls out for something, for instance, so thirsty, that puts up an alert on the screen. Oh, looks like we got about 15 minutes here on the official time. All right. MacArthur says in chat, I draw the line at trying to do Fat Mayor Bound Rounds and Revenge of the Drunkards at the same time. That's fair. The Revenge of the Drunkards I tend to pass on because I can't... It just takes so much time, it feels like, to throw the cabbages, and I don't feel like I can properly multitask with other things because I don't want to accidentally be seen by a bounder on cabbage 9 and then have wasted all that time. So I tend to give that a pass. I'll do Fat Mare while I'm doing everything else, especially now with this backgrounded ability. Bound Around is just lightning fast. Staffing the Market, that's another 7. So we're already at 9 quests. And then Ice Cream Preparation, 10, takes me up the hill for another 7. Right? Like, super easy. I just don't need the cabbages. My cabbages!
Yeah.
But your cabbages, exactly. I mean, they're rotten, so it's fine. Like, you gotta do something with them. Might as well toss them at a bounder. But, yeah. I just end up not being able to, not being able to do it. Also, with my new graphics card, I've been very much enjoying setting my details up to the highest level. But by default, that turns post-processing effects on. And I'm just not a big fan of the drunk, blurry effect that comes on while mandatory while you're doing Revenge of the Drunkards. I mean, I appreciate why it's there. I'm just not visually a fan of it on my screen. So I'll do it for the egg scramble because I just don't care enough to not eat the bad eggs on the field. If if they're the only eggs there, I'm going to grab them. Not eat, but pick up. But I'll do it for egg scramble. But egg scramble could get you a golden egg. I mean, it won't, but it could get you a golden egg, and you're not going to get a golden egg from Revenge of the Drunkards. Okay, so this right here, I would like to be able to move this, and we can see it doesn't have a corresponding drag bar. And we already have drag bar for the fireworks, so maybe we can just add that in. So let's come on in. And we're going to need two things. We're going to need a setting for it to know where to put it. And I think the window spans the entire horizontal space. So we're really just talking about the height. How far down the screen are we? And for that, let's come on into the fireworks window for drag bar. And we can see this is in the reposition UI. Okay. And we're going to want to do something similar with the alert window. So we're going to have a function, reposition UI alerts. And similar stuff. Oh, that's so interesting. That's why I was confused before. That is not a good name for that. W quick slots. I regret that naming. But it's what it is. Okay, so we're in the reposition. Great. So I'm going to copy this and start paring down what's up. So we know that this is actually W Alt Win Parent. That's a convention I should have followed, and I'll probably do that sometime. So this. So I assume setting down alerts is not a thing, but I've been wrong before. Let's check for alert. It is not. Great. But what are these things called? Alt win, barter win, dance win, alert win. Whoops. All right, Festival Buddy alert window. So we're making a new Festival Buddy drag bar instantiation, setting it on top, setting it visible, setting it draggable, and then if we are not locked, if we are locked, then we're going to go ahead and set that to nil. If it's not nil, set it draggable false, set target nil, and set it to nil. Okay. Then we'll save off that setting. Now we're not actually using it yet, but that's a starting point. So, unload, reload, let's see what happens. For one thing, we're still going to need to be told when this is happening. So, in the main window, if it's reposition UI, great. We also need reposition UI alert. Hang on. If args.action equals this, then, all right, the next one is okay, sometimes we'll do the reposition fireworks always will do the reposition alert. Okay, still a no. Oh. Yes, alert is nil. Okay, so the alert window only exists when it is being shown. Okay, fair enough. So if we go into reposition alert, we're going to want to check for w alt when parent. So if w alt when parent equals nil, then return end. Why is 140 settings alert when? Oh, of course, we need to have some default values. All right, so this is going to be alert when. We don't care about the visible. Everything else is, oh, I think there's some defaults there. Set size is temp width, temp height, okay. Let's see where else this happens. Nowhere. Sure. Set position. Oh, I'm in an alt win. Of course, I need to be an alert. Well, that's certainly going to be embarrassing. Whoopsie. Alright, this alert is wonky, is what it is. Okay, animate alert is called from here. Message window is here. Message window. Message window is a local, which is delightful. The way this works is just... I forgot about this. I forgot how wonky this is. Like, ideally, I would just have a window that accepts more text to show, and each text, has an amount of time it's going to be shown for, and you could just show multiple alerts on the screen. And that's just not how this is set up. This is very much a singleton, and a singleton that doesn't even exist until it's in use, and then it's gone again. That being said, if I went ahead and said alert, alert.constructor. I think this is actually going to be easier to do a completely different way, which is just have a text box in the options that says how far down do you want it. Oh, no, this is terrible. Okay, so it's not going to be a tonight thing, but what I think we could do is, while we are in this state, make an alert window that says this is what an alert window looks like, if there isn't already one. And if there isn't already one, make that one. And then drag it around, and when we're done dragging it, save that off as the default for future alerts. So I think that's what it needs to be. So when what do we even call this? When reposition UI. When repositioning the UI is toggled. Yeah, we're definitely coming up to the end here. I've got some Dutch language homework that needs to be done before the end of the night. So if you've got last minute thoughts, comments, questions, concerns, whatnot, go ahead and toss them into chat while I'm finishing up this design note. If there is not an alert, make one with sample text. Enable drag bar on it when repositioning is toggled off. Save and disable drag bar and save position in settings. Baz asks, ready for the Minster buff rework again when the next update hits live? I don't know if I'll be ready when update hits live, but the class we're in is going to be going through more or less the end of October, which means November might be a very Minster buff heavy month for me. That being said, I haven't checked out all of the trait tree reworks and everything on Bullroar, but if they haven't really touched blue and red, then a lot of the things that I've done won't be affected, like the war speech, like the melodic interlude. So it really depends on, have they changed how those work as well as revamping the yellow tree and also doing all this other stuff. So, accounting for new and interesting anthems, that's definitely on the list. But so the plugin might work surprisingly well as is. The fixed views won't, of course, because there'll be a whole different list of anthems. But that'll be interesting. It's definitely on my radar, Baz. Someone was mentioning it last time. It might have been Egg Arthur. Someone was mentioning it. Those are some pretty massive changes. In fact, let me pop a link to Bullroar into the chat there. Anyone who hasn't seen it, if you click on the latest notes there, there's lots of information about minstrel changes coming down upon us. On the whole, they sound interesting. I'm not opposed to them. And there was a note in there, how about, on average, red line minstrels should do more damage, which just, that makes me happy. So, that's fine. All right. Make alert window movable. When positioning. If there's not alert, make one with sample text. If there is, just enable the drag. Either way, enable drag bars on it. Okay, we'll give that a try on a future stream. Maybe not next time, but maybe yes. I guess it depends, if minstrel changes have been released live. If minstrel changes have been released live, then I think I'm going to do plugin along full-time minstrel buffs until I'm satisfied. We'll see. If it's not live yet, maybe we'll just work our way through this festival buddy. A few last-minute items. I thought that we were going to get done today, but that was pretty ambitious. Okay. Awesome. I'm going to take a drink here. If there's any other questions, comments, etc., I'll throw them into chat real fast. I should make sure I haven't actually broken myself. I have not. Okay. Excellent. Okay, well, I'm not seeing anything flowing into chat. If you did have a question and didn't have time to type it out, feel free to bring it back next week. We'll be here again. I think Little Redhead and I are both going to be streaming next Tuesday, and we can pick it up then. All right. Well, as always, that's all we are going to cover today. Thank you so much for joining me on this exploration of LOTRO plugins. I do appreciate anyone who wants to come spend their Tuesday, whatever time of day it is, for you with me. I do hope to see you here next week, and until then, keep plugging along. All right, bye-bye now.